Electricity is an invaluable tool in construction, but when handled improperly, even a small amount of current can cause injury or death. Your life depends on following safe electrical work procedures. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, has developed safe work standards to protect you from electrical hazards on the job. This program will show how to recognize and avoid electrical accidents. A ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, is a fast-acting circuit breaker that continually matches the amount of current going to and from an electrical device. Whenever the amount of current going to a device differs from the amount returning, by even a fraction of an amp, the GFCI will trip and shut off electric power in as little as 1/40th of a second. According to OSHA, over half of all electrical deaths in construction could be prevented with proper ground fault circuit interrupter protection. While GFCIs can prevent most deaths caused by 110 and low voltage power tools, lighting and appliances, they will not protect you from line-to-line electrical contact like holding hot wires in each hand. Contractors are required to provide ground fault circuit interrupters or an assured equipment grounding conductor program for temporary electrical power used on a construction site that is not part of the permanent wiring or structure. GFCIs are also required on extension cord receptacles used by site personnel, even though power to the cord is generated from a receptacle that is part of the permanent wiring. GFCIs are more easily tripped if tools or connectors are wet, a condition frequently found on a construction site. Also, the cumulative leakage, or the total sum of return current being lost from several tools or very long circuits, can cause a GFCI to break power. You can avoid these interruptions by making sure that tools, connectors, and junction boxes are dry and circuits are not overloaded. If a GFCI is tripped, always find and correct the fault before resetting the device. Finally, frequently test the GFCI device to make certain it is operating properly. Pressing the GFCI test button will open the circuit. If the circuit opens, the GFCI is working properly, and pressing the reset button will restore power. If not operating properly, replace immediately. Your life may depend on it. Following safe lockout-tagout procedures will prevent electrical accidents and save lives. Locks and tags should be used whenever live electrical circuits or the sudden startup of electrical equipment could cause an accident or injury. One of the most dangerous hazards on the job is hidden under the ground, behind a wall, or encased in a conduit. Electricity is everywhere. Make sure you know exactly what you're digging into, cutting, or nailing. If you don't know what's hidden, check with the on-site electrician. If you're planning to dig, you may be required to contact your local utility company first. And when digging, if you uncover a continuous colored tape, stop immediately and check with a qualified person or your supervisor before continuing. The colored tape normally indicates the presence of a buried cable 18 inches to 24 inches below. Once you have identified a potentially dangerous electrical hazard, always personally de-energize the circuit and lock and tag the energy source. Instructions for a qualified electrician or a dual lockout-tagout with the electrician may be required. After locking out, verify that the energy source has been turned off by trying all start-stop switches. Don't omit this step. Taking someone's word for it may be the last thing you do. Lastly, a qualified person must be consulted before any work is performed in hazardous atmospheres or environments. Electrical power cords and extension cords are the lifelines of a construction site. Your job depends on them, and your life depends on their safe use. A few simple rules apply. Always use 3-wire type cords designated for hard and extra hard usage as required by OSHA and the National Electrical Code, or NEC. Durably mark cords with type designation, size, and number of conductors. Never break the ground prong off a plug. Never use an electrical cord or plug that is damaged in any way or has exposed wires. Keep all electric cords, connectors, and power tools dry and free of lubricants and oils. And never use in or near standing water. Build a raised platform to work on. Make sure each electrical plug connection, joint, and terminal is securely connected, has appropriate strain relief devices installed, and is free of excess line tension. Keep working spaces and walkways clear of extension cords so you do not create a fall or trip hazard. Extension cords may be elevated to accomplish this, but do not fasten cords with staples, hang them from nails, or suspend them using wire. Generally, ANSI-approved hard hats, safety glasses with side shields, and leather gloves are standard personal protective equipment for construction work. In addition, wearing the right clothing for the job whenever you work with electricity, safety boots with insulated soles and heels are recommended. Jewelry of any kind, especially rings, can conduct electricity and are very dangerous to wear on a construction site. Large belt buckles and the metal rivets on a tool belt can also cause a serious accident. Avoid wearing them. When using jackhammers, bars, or other hand tools which may contact a power line, insulated rubber protective gloves and rubber arm mats may be required protective equipment. All tools used near energized electrical sources must be inspected daily for damage. The tools should be clean and dry and in safe working condition. Check to make sure that any hand tool you will use near electrical sources is properly insulated with no cracks, tears, or gaps. All power tools must have double insulation or third wire cord grounding. To make a construction site as safe as possible, OSHA and the NEC provide specific elevations for unguarded live parts and open conductors on a construction site. The whole idea is to keep dangerous electrical circuits off the ground and high enough to avoid employees and any cars or trucks that come on the site. For unguarded live parts, OSHA and NEC require that lines be elevated 8 1/2 feet if line voltage is between 601 and 7,500 volts, with an addition of 37/100ths of an inch per kilovolt over 35,000. Also, open exterior conductors must be at least 3 feet from windows, doors, fire escapes, or similar openings. 10 feet above a finished grade, sidewalks, or any platform. 12 feet above general vehicle traffic. 15 feet over any area where trucks may be used. And a minimum of 18 feet over public streets, alleys, roads, and driveways. Always refer to OSHA and NEC standards for the specific elevation requirements for your particular situation, such as a roof installation. If you ever encounter someone who has been accidentally electrocuted, caution and quick response are essential. Following a few safety rules will help protect your life and may save the life of the victim. Never touch the victim or any conductive source or item touching the victim unless you are safely insulated. Locate the power source and immediately disconnect or use a non-conductive dry board, rope, coat, or blanket to separate the victim from the circuit. Use tools with insulated handles to cut the circuit if it cannot be disconnected. Immediately call 911, the site first aid technician, or the emergency response team, and if qualified, begin administering first aid to the victim. Electrical safety on a construction site is everyone's job. Make sure you follow safe electrical procedures as outlined by your company, OSHA, and NEC every day. It can save your life and the lives of your coworkers.